Welcome back everybody, Todd here. If you're new to the channel, thanks for stopping by. Today I'm going to install some lower vented leg fairings on my 2021 Harley-Davidson Sport Glide. If you're not a Sport Glide owner and you don't know this, that Sport Glide, it can be a difficult bike to do upgrades on because Harley really hasn't come out with a lot of parts for it, and the aftermarket stuff, and there's some out there but not much. So in looking for these solid lowers, wasn't finding a lot out there. Did hit some of the the Facebook forums and stuff like that, found a few people that are running them. I was able to correspond back and forth and see what they did, but so I located some aftermarket lowers on Amazon, purchased those. I know I'm going to have to do some cutting on them to get them to fit and what have you. So I thought, hey, there's only one way to figure it out, and that's just to buy some and see if you can make them work. So that's where I'm at. So I figured I'd go ahead and film this, and you can follow along with me, and then I'll put this out there, win, lose, or draw, and that way if you're a Sport Glide owner, you'll know what you're getting into if you're going to try to do something with these vented lowers. So come on with me and let's see where it takes us. Okay, these are the vented lowers that I purchased on Amazon. They're XFMT, and I'll put a link in the description down below, but they weren't god-awful expensive. They're vivid black, and the vivid black matches my vivid black on my Harley-Davidson Sport Glide perfectly. So, you know, this thing, it goes around the bars right there. You can kind of see. So you put that in around the top. This has to clip in on the bottom, and it fills it in. Then this goes around the top of your guard, and then on the bottom, right here, on the bottom, that comes in and it bolts onto the bottom of your crash bar. Now there's a glove box up top. I've gone ahead and tried to install it, but what happens is this shroud, or the bottom of it, hits the frame, and I can't quite get it to fit into the crash bars. So the only way you're going to do it, I've got it taped up, you're going to have, this is for the shift lever side, you're going to have to go ahead and cut this off. So I'll take you on that journey with me. We'll do all the cutting together. I'll show you what's involved, and it'll work or it won't. I mean, I don't know. Win, lose, or draw, come on along and I'll show you how I fare on this thing. Let's take a look at what the issue is at the moment. Okay, right down here on the bottom, you can see there's a little bump there. And then on the back side, I'll show it to you in a second, there's another one, and it's groove. And so I've got to be able to push that bottom of the fairing forward so that hump right there will roll over the front side of the bar. But I'm hitting against the frame right there. So if I could push that whole housing toward the frame just about another ½ inch, I'd be able to loop that bottom thing over top of there and then square that whole thing up a little bit. So it's going to end up requiring that I cut that whole fairing down along the frame. Let's look at it from the other side. Here it is from the other side. You can see how tight it is up against there, and it's not going to make a hill of beans difference if you end up cutting that housing off down there, or that shroud. Plenty of room to get that to fit. It's a little unnerving, but you got to do what you got to do to make the thing fit. Okay, I'm using my Dremel Multi-Pro variable speed cutting tool. So, keep that on the block. Right now. Let's go ahead and look at what I cut off. So on the right hand side here is the one that I cut on the left-hand side is the one that has not been cut. So you can see when I get right down in here, what I've done is I cut this edge off. See how that one goes out flush? So that's what we had to cut off. It's all the way down on the bottom. It's up against the frame. You're not even going to see it. That's friggin' awesome. And if that's all it takes to get that shift side on, I'm happy as a dog. So I think I've got it to the point now. I had to go back, do a second cut, but better to take it slow and cut only what you need and then go back after it another 2 or 3 times if you have to. But so there's the cut. That's how much I had to cut off. Honestly, with that Dremel, it was easy peasy. So far, so good. Obviously, the other side with the brake reservoir down there is going to be a lot more cutting, but, you know, one at a time. So I'll go ahead and see if I can get this installed. Let's look at how this attaches to the crash bar. We'll go inside. You can see there's 2 bolts. One on the top, one on the bottom, and then that's the crash bar that goes in between there. So yeah, you just get it lined up and crank those down, and that attaches there. Then you can see there's a bolt on the bottom. I'll show you what that looks like down underneath here in just a minute. You can see where I made my cuts down there along the frame. They turned out to be pretty good, I think. You know, there's your factory edge right there. Comes up, goes up along the frame there, and we're good to go. So there's, you know, a cover that snaps on there. That's how much room you've got inside for a glove box. Certainly could put, you know, some tools, or like I've got a mini spray bottle of bug slide and a rag I could put in there, you know. I mean, I'll find something to put in there. That's how, you can see how it's dished out there for your foot. I ended up moving my shifting lever down just a little bit, so I got plenty of room up top. But that's how it attaches, just the 2 bolts up there and the one right there, and then that attaches underneath. There's the bracket that goes around, and that's where I had to swap it out for a longer bolt. So we've successfully installed the one on the shifter side. Take a good look at it here. Kind of just go around it. I mean, I know it's dark, it's in the garage, it's under workshop lights. I'll pull it out in the driveway at some point when we get to the end here, but you can kind of see what it looks like. I think it looks great. Here we go. Take a look from the back side of it. You can see that it's got the cover snapped on over the glove box there. Lots of room down in there for your foot. You can see along the frame there where I made the cut. Looks good. Kind of looking from the back of the bike on one side. I think it's going to give me a lot of protection. Now that's with the vent closed. Let me go open the vent and I'll show you what that looks like. And there you go with the vent opened. You can see it's letting a lot of air flow through there when you open that vent up. I've already got the soft lowers to go on the crash bars, so you might be wondering why go to all the headaches of, you know, putting on the lower fairings like this. Well, look at how much higher the top of that fairing sits over top of the crash bar. You come over here, the soft lowers, you know, go right to the top of the crash bar. So, you know, if you look through there, you're gaining almost 6 inches of height for sure. Plus, you know, you don't have to put them on, take them off, etc. So, you know, I'm hopeful that this is going to go well, and I'm going to like them. Well, we got the easy side done. Now it's time to really earn our keep on this project, because we're going to have to deal with this. There's your whole brake cylinder, and you know, that's what we're working around on this side of the bike. You can see through on the other side, a little bit of cutting, no problem, turned out great. Here, you're going to have all that brake mechanism. It actually sits out further than the bottom of the bar. You can look over on the other side and see that that thing kind of runs the bar and then cuts back to the inside of the bar, where here, you know, that brake cylinder is sitting on the outside. So we're going to have some fun there. But that's going to be the most difficult part of this whole project. So we're going to just start trimming stuff and go slowly and begin to work around that and see where it takes us. Before I start cutting into this final fairing, I thought I'd spend just a minute and explain why I chose the model that I did. Again, this is aftermarket XFMT, and this is specific for Harley-Davidson. It's a Harley-Davidson 1983 to, I think, 2013, and it's specifically designed for the touring models like the Road King, Road Glide, Sport Glide, that kind of a thing. So obviously this is a 2021 Harley-Davidson Sport Glide, so why did I choose this model? Well, they have another model available that is from the 2014 to current, again, specific for the touring chassis. So none of it's going to fit a Sport Glide. None of it's made to fit a Sport Glide to begin with. So, but if you look at this, this is how, so this has, you can close this, and that gives you the most wind protection. Or in the summertime, from the inside here, there's a dial. You just dial it open, and it opens that up and lets the wind through. Well, if you look at this, all of this open ground right here, and then the bottom here, it's a lot easier to fabricate with this stuff. The other model that you have to choose from, and a lot of the others that I looked at, are solid. And so you've got all of this to contend with, which means possibly cutting even more out of the actual fairing. So I chose this because it's going to be easier to fabricate and cut around the things down here than the whole shooting match being on there. So that's why I chose this model as my reasoning anyhow. We'll see how it turns out, but just wanted to let you know that's why I chose this model rather than the more current 2014 to current. Okay, now let's get back to the build. Okay, here we go again. So again, I'm using my Dremel. I've got eye protection, I got ear protection, I got gloves. Let's make some cuts. So we've clearly got the brake side on. Decided to push it out into the driveway. Let's take a look at it. I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty much a challenge. You can see how I ended up. You know, there were some challenges, but all in all, very doable project, you guys. Here's what it looks like from outside. Everything really functionally comes together quite well. You can see inside here how it kind of comes to a point on a triangle. Yeah, that was a mistake, and it happened because I started switching over to measurements rather than just cutting a little bit off, trying it, cutting a little bit more. And yeah, it would have been nice if that was squared off, but honestly, if that's the worst case scenario, you don't even see it. You can see from the outside, you can't even tell. And the cuts that I had to make really turned out quite nice on both sides. There's the cuts on the shifter side. Here you go on the brake side. From the outside, everything's really good. Inside, yeah, I see that little triangle. It'll probably drive me nuts, but the issue is you have to be able to snake that thing in there and then get this over the bar. So you got to cut that bigger than what it needs to be once it's in place. Okay, let's do a complete walk around. Well, that's going to do it for this video. I appreciate you tagging along. Hope you got some value. Hope you found some information that was helpful and useful to you. If you did, hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button while you're at it. And if you got any questions, drop me a line in the comments, and I'll see you on the next one.